All right, Shooter. Joining us now on the Roadshow podcast is Vinny Rottino from Wisconsin, is our new scouting director in the state of Wisconsin. Vinny, not only welcome to the Roadshow podcast, your first time on here, but welcome to the PBR family, man.
It feels good to be part of this family, right? I mean, I've heard a ton about this organization. It's impressive what this organization is, what it does for players, what it does for amateur baseball. And I can't believe I'm kind of pinching myself, right? I played in the big leagues, but this is kind of like a call-up. This is like a major league call-up for me. So I'm really excited to be part of this organization.
Yeah, you've been in so many clubhouses. You know what the camaraderie is like. That's what it's like for us. It's what I love, that there's so much passion for baseball, and you're just another guy that's raising the level of PBR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, first of all, thank you for the compliment. You know, to be considered as raising the level, raising the bar for the company, for the organization. So, but yeah, I mean, I played in the big leagues parts of 5 seasons. I grinded my hide off, right, and I kind of know what it takes to not be a player that's necessarily as talented as some others, but grinded and scratched and clawed my way up there and understand the value of having that team mentality, that team first mentality. And so I'm looking forward to bringing that from my side of things to the organization, but I can already tell that everybody else is already like that, so it's easy to do. It's easy to bring that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear guys talk all the time about, the fraternity of being a big leaguer. Whether or not you played against somebody or with somebody or even in the same era, you played in the big leagues, so you have that automatic connection with somebody else that played in the big leagues. If you bump into each other, they may never have heard you, but you played in the big leagues, so you're automatically in. I've always loved that idea. I get it. Obviously, never played, but I get that idea. But I think that does extend throughout the rest of baseball. And yeah, you've got the big league fraternity, but there's also just the overall fraternity of baseball. There are guys that I'm connected to through different ways that are working in baseball, that are scouts now, and they may have played at a certain level, but we have a connection in one way. Maybe it's we went to school together or we played against each other in high school. So like that big league fraternity is obviously very exclusive, but it goes beyond that into just this overall family of baseball people.
Oh, I totally agree with that sentiment. And the idea is that if you just love the game, if you're passionate about the game, and I think you're part of that fraternity. And if you have some feel too, to be around the game, to be around players, to be around the clubhouse. Some of my best friends to this day are clubbies, right? Mm-hmm. So guys in the minor leagues that were setting out meals for the team, and they had tremendous feel for being in a clubhouse, for people, for players, and just obviously really passionate about the game. I think that's what kind of brings you into that mix, into that fold.
Mm-hmm. I'm checking out all those jerseys you got behind you. You got a lot of brew stuff. You've worked with the Brewers. Obviously, you're coming in with us in the state of Wisconsin. What are those roots like for you in Wisconsin? How much do you love the state? What do you want to bring to that vibe of what we do on a national level, but remaining hyper-local?
Yeah, so obviously I grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, just south of Milwaukee. It's a town in between Milwaukee and Chicago, obviously still in the state of Wisconsin. So I went to Racine St. Catherine's here. I then went to UW La Crosse, and there was I didn't get recruited, right? I played in the big leagues, but really didn't get recruited. 3 schools recruited me: La Crosse, Madison Edgewood, and Wisconsin Whitewater, right? Those are literally the only 3 schools that recruited me. And, I was a bit of a late bloomer physically, but I think I had the tools and the skills at the time when I was a senior to at least have been looked at by maybe at least a smaller D1. The point I'm making is that there was no exposure in the state of Wisconsin at all for players to play on to the next level. I'm looking at the PBR list of the D1 commits for 2022, and it's over 40 dudes. When I was playing, it was 3 guys that probably went on and played Division I baseball. So I mean, the exposure piece of it is massive. So the idea that I can shine that bright light on players in this state, in a cold weather state that I come from, that I'm passionate about, that I take a lot of pride in, that's kind of what really is going to get me motivated to do a great job for PBR here in Wisconsin.
It really sounds like it's something whenever I step on the field, we've been given so much by the game of baseball. What can we give back? And it really sounds like that's what you want to bring to Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that. I love that idea of giving back because, every winter I would run a little, clinic, a baseball clinic with some kids. And it doesn't matter the talent level of those kids. I just love working and giving back, just like you said. And so here's an opportunity to really have an impact in giving back and helping these kids find a great fit. And it might not even be a Division I school, right? Some players, that's what I'm also very, very passionate about this role. Is like some players might either, without PBR, may not play college baseball at all. But with PBR, we can find them a good fit, maybe at a smaller D3 school or an NAIA or a JUCO or something like that. So that is a really cool aspect of it as well.
Yeah, that's a big thing that I really kind of preach to a lot of people when they ask me about like, what do we do? And don't get me wrong, like we talk about the cream of the crop, the top guys, the big sexy prospects that Shooter and I cover. We get called player snobs all the time, rightfully so. I get it. But like, not only do our guys cover those guys, but we work all the way down to those guys that, are the Division III talents, the NAIAs, the JUCO guys, top to bottom. And that's that hyper local side of everything and you can do it by just covering your state. And, really we put our state directors at that advantage of like, you just have to worry about your state. So you can cover the top guys all the way down that list and really help not just cover the game of baseball, but also help some of those guys, find the ability to play at the next level, find a good home for them. But you talk about, you played Division III ball, and I know a little bit about your background. Obviously played parts of 5 seasons, the big leagues. But even your path from Division III baseball to, the big leagues was kind of unorthodox in itself. No player development timeline for anybody is linear. There are big time guys that go on to big time college programs, and it seems like they shoot straight to the big leagues. But in there was a valley or a peak or whatever. You played Division III ball, and was there a break there between college and pro ball for you? Because you went undrafted, did you not?
I did. I went undrafted. Harvey Keene Jr., phenomenal scout for the Milwaukee Brewers at the time. I actually put my name in for the draft, and then draft day came and went, and I was not picked. And so I actually had a backup plan to go to pharmacy school at UW-Madison. Actually played for the club team there for one semester because I wanted to play baseball so bad. I was like, just to keep in shape, I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to get an opportunity to get signed. Actually, the only guy that wanted to sign me, his name, besides Harvey Keene Jr., but obviously without getting drafted, I think that for him and for the Brewers, I think that the ship had sailed. But Scott Engler, I know that Sean Duncan's really good friends with Scott Engler, obviously the president of PBR, the guy who founded it. He's really good friends with Scott Engler, and I became really good friends with Scott Engler. He put me in front of the scouting director for the Marlins. Didn't get signed out of that. This was all after I graduated from UW La Crosse. Then went to pharmacy school, like I said. And I was a pharmacy school student. I had no business thinking that I was going to continue to play baseball. I would go to the rec center where no one was at like crazy hours and take a baseball and keep my arm loose by throwing it as hard as I can against the wall. like this is the kind of thing that I did. I ended up quitting pharmacy school so I could attend a few tryouts down in Arizona, and the Brewers tryout happened to be the first one. Ended up getting signed out of that. But that was my path. Yeah, it was a short break between playing and then actually getting signed. But I was 23 years old in extended spring training playing with, 18-year-old Dominican kids and Venezuelan kids. And I had no business playing in the big leagues. I just, in terms of like, talk about an unorthodox route, I just knocked down every wall that was in front of me, and I worked harder than everybody else to kind of put myself back on the map of not necessarily prospect status, but at least I was on the timeline of I was in AA at 25, so that's kind of normal at that point.
Yeah. And what can you, I mean, obviously, like we say, like your player development timelines are never linear, and every kid is different in what not only their potential is, but how they might be able to fulfill it. And your story certainly might not be, 100% specific to another kid, but with and I do like the dichotomy that we have here. If Shooter has a lot of experience that he can share with kids of being a first round pick, playing pro ball, and what his experience was versus what yours is, being undrafted, making the big leagues. What are some general things from your experience in college and professional baseball that you feel like you can pass on to players who are in high school looking at playing the next level, whether or not they're a pro prospect or a low-level college guy?
Yeah, so the advice that I always give kids is baseball is a sport where you don't have to be able to dunk a basketball or run a 4.40 in order to play at the highest level. Like you just have to have it, in here in your heart and the passion and the intelligence in your mind to really pay attention and just try to get to your ceiling, whatever that is. And the players that try and work hard to do that, they're always the better players at the end. Now, whether or not you're going to play professional baseball, like I got super lucky in order to do that. But at the same time, like I wanted it bad enough where I put myself in the position to get lucky as well. So I would just say, like, just continue. If you love the game, just continue just to grind and work your tail off because you never know when that light bulb moment's going to go off where something's going to click with your swing or with, if you're a pitcher with that slider or whatever it is. Just continue to try and grind and work your way through some of those struggles, because at the end of the day, your career is going to end and life is going to happen, right? And so you have to do that in life as well. And that's kind of what I try to impart on the kids that I work with or talk to about it.
Amazing. I got to tell you, you're coming on at a great time because we're about a month out from those state finals there in Wisconsin. So I know the high school season is finally maybe getting a little bit warmer up there. The bats are coming to play. The arms are getting loose. The divisional races are getting tight. And I can't wait to see what kind of high school action we have coming from you soon.
Yeah, no. We're actually heading out to a game today. Andy Soroka and I am going to kind of shadow him today. I mean, we're taking a look at the top prospect in the class, Gavin Killen. So yeah, we're excited to kind of take a look at him and put some content out there as to what we're going to see. Yeah,
you talk about before, when you were, a high school guy, there wasn't that exposure. Gavin Keelan is the next in line of Wisconsin shortstops, man. Like they've just been rolling out of Wisconsin in recent years. You got Gavin Lux in the big leagues. Noah Miller was a higher pick last year. You got Gavin Keelan now. So yeah, it's Wisconsin. We just keep waiting for those shortstops, man.
No, I mean they breed us differently up here, right? I think it's an advantage. I think it's an advantage to play up here, right? Because then you do have to kind of put yourself on the map and grind through some of the challenges that other players don't have to grind through. So I do think there is an advantage to playing up here.
Excellent stuff. Well, Vinny, we really appreciate you not only jumping on, but also, again, like I said, joining the family. We look forward to working with you and actually hanging out in person, not virtual as of right now. But yeah, looking forward to it. Welcome aboard, and we'll certainly catch up soon. But that's Vinny Rottino, our new state director in Wisconsin. Be sure to check out prepbaseballreport.com for more coverage from the state of Wisconsin coming up soon.